Okay. We're now recording and we're now broadcasting. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Gill from Pulsar Health, and we have
Pamela Giustizia with Muse, MediSpa. So glad to be back. And Patricia, I'm not even going to try to say your last name.
Iglesias.
And then you're going to have to say your business name too.
It's like Enrique Iglesias.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. And I'm from Texas. You would think I would be able to do this, but you came highly recommended to me from actually somebody who used to be in my practice with me as an injector, and we're still really great friends. And so she, her husband owns a gym or something, and
yes,
it's like, you have to talk with this girl. She will be perfect for this. So
oh, thank you. I love her.
I do too. And I love that her and I still have a relationship after so many years. So can you tell us a little bit about your business and what you do and where you're located and what you're...
Yes. So like you said, my name is Patricia Iglesias, no relation to Enrique. And
Bummer.
I know.
Bummer. Joseph knows Enrique, though. They actually go out together. So.
What? Oh my goodness.
Celebrity. Whatever.
That's so
Go
funny.
ahead.
So I run my own online fitness business, Iglesias Fitness. And basically I am a certified personal trainer, a certified group fitness instructor, and a certified nutrition coach. I've been in the fitness industry, worn many, many hats over the last 20 years, from sales to general manager of a gym, teaching group fitness, personal training, all of it. So I recently moved back to Florida after 13 years of living in Tennessee and kind of starting all over here, with my online training and my online nutrition. I also, teach group fitness in the West Boca area. I don't know if I can say where I teach.
Of course.
Okay.
Go ahead. We're all about co-marketing and whatever. So
I teach at a studio called City Row. So it is a rowing studio. It's a smaller studio where everyone has their own rower. And I also teach at F45 studio, F45 training, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about that, in Pompano Beach. And I also do one-on-one training, but not doing any at the moment, and not sure when I'll be doing that again, because I have 3 children, and so I want to stay as safe as possible. So, yeah.
And one of the things, so Dr. Gill and I have been doing this webinar series since kind of the COVID thing hit, and we all were like, okay, we can't do business, but how can we still serve, our reach of people, and how can we reach more people without spending money on marketing,
Correct, yes.
And whenever you get into a field like what we're all in, it truly, I think what ticks our talk is to provide wellness and beauty from the inside out and the outside in, and kind of keep a collaborative, those two things working together so we can really feel our best and be our best. And so we kind of started this series as a way to, people are at home and they don't really know what to do and not a lot of money to do it. So how can we just provide a free service of education and reach out to other businesses that we would trust to help with that too. Now we're getting the go-ahead, to at least our business has, and Dr. Gill's business has, and I don't know where gyms are at yet on that.
But our local gym, we had Ed Shepherd on last week, and he's opening on Saturday with just 6 clients, and he's got a big space. So they're like, if you're going to be there, let us know so we can plan.
Yeah, there's a lot of protocols, which is what we're all having to go through too, like one person at a time, and signing off on the release forms of whether or not you've been exposed, and making sure we all wear a mask. And I mean, in the medical field, we're already doing all of the sanitation and all that stuff anyway, but we're just now really hyper sanitizing and making sure that we don't have people on top of each other. But as far as nutrition goes, because today is Tasty Nutritional Thursdays, and when I was reading your bio, Patricia, you have quite a background in nutrition. And so today we want to focus on nutrition. So
it's Tasty Thursday. Tasty
Thursday.
Tasty Thursday. I like that title.
I know. we were like, we got to throw something together here. So we're going to do this Mondays and this Tuesdays.
And you have what? You have Fitness Fridays?
We've got Fitness Fridays. We have Immunity Mondays. We've got Transformational Tuesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, Tasty Thursdays, but we want to have it nutritious also, because sometimes tasty is not so nutritious.
Tasty can be nutritious,
and that's what we want to focus on. And then we have Fitness Fridays, and we've been doing that. This will be our 3rd week, and then we have 1 more week. So, maybe we'll continue it, but not every day, because we're both getting busy. But,
well, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
So
go ahead, Dr. Gill.
I was going to ask you, thanks for giving us some of the questions that you wanted to bring out. And one of them was on intermittent fasting, and we haven't really looked at that. And there was also macros. I think a lot of people are not that familiar with macros. If you could tell them about that a little bit.
Yeah, so macros, basically, when you hear that word thrown around, it's basically, as you know, macronutrients. So it's like protein, carbs, and fats. And so, for many, many, many years, we've all heard, like, we need to count calories and we need to count calories. And, that hasn't really worked out, has it? I mean, you've had hundreds and thousands of people counting calories and they've gotten nowhere. So what I like about macros is that you could personalize it to your age, your sex, your activity level, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a mom that barely, does any exercises, and you can customize, carbs and fats and protein depending on the individual. So counting calories will help you lose weight, at the end of the day, if you, take in less than you expend type thing. But counting macros will help you lose fat, will help you build muscle, and will help you have more energy. So I kind of call, I'm sorry?
I was going to say, so for a typical person who goes to the office, comes back, how do you, say it's a lady, how do you set the macros for them? What do you do?
I usually start with percentages and then kind of go from there. So for someone that isn't very active, that doesn't lift weights, that, just has an office job, I would start probably on a lower carb, on the lower carb end, maybe like 20 to 30% carbs, and then kind of figure out proteins and fat. I myself live a ketogenic lifestyle, and I know the importance of fat, especially for women. So I try never to go, that low on fat, only because, we need it for hormone regulation and whatnot. And also, fat isn't bad. We've been told that fat is bad, but it's really an essential macronutrient. So
fat can be your friend.
It can.
It just depends on which group the fat is in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
we're going to have t-shirts. Fat's your friend. Which group is it in?
I think that, it depends on the quality of the fat. Is your fat coming from bacon? Or is your fat coming from, avocados and?
Oh my God, you just said my 2 most favorite foods.
Yeah, right. So it just all depends. I help you figure out, what your macros should be. Like I said, depending on your lifestyle and your goals. And then we kind of personalize that on your preferences, your likes, your dislikes, your intolerances, because that's also important. So that's kind of like where I try to focus when it comes to macros. I teach them, what each macro is and what it does.
So can you say what are each of the macros?
So the macros are protein, carbs, and fats.
Okay.
So basically, I see protein as a building block. So we need it. It's essential. We have to have protein. And then fat is also essential. We need fat for hormone regulations and energy and things like that. And then carbs is the one you can kind of play with. Do you lead a very active lifestyle? Are you an athlete? Do you need a lot of carbs? Or are you more of a, like Dr. Gill said, someone that works in an office that maybe goes for a walk after dinner? So we kind of play with that. And basically it's a lot of trial and error. We can start with a lower carb count with a little bit higher fat, see how that goes. We can switch it around. We can always play with the fat and the carbs. What I like to keep constant is the protein, because I feel that that's a super important macronutrient.
All right, can I Oh, go ahead, Dr. Gill.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you have different levels of protein according to what people are doing, or how old they are, or like those kind of things, or is it pretty steady, the level that you recommend?
Well, there are certain people that need more protein. So if you're older, you need more protein. If you are an athlete or a heavy lifter, lifting weights, resistance training, you need more protein. Usually what I recommend is somewhere between 0.8 grams till about 1.2 grams per lean body weight or per lean mass. So, it depends on, then I take into account your sex, if you're a male, if you're a female, and then your activity level goes into there. And obviously, I stay within my scope of practice. So this is for healthy individuals that have no underlying health issues. Then I'm happy to work with them and see, where this takes us. Normally what happens while like tracking macros and logging your food is because a lot of people think that they eat, not that they eat right, but a lot of people think they're not eating enough, right? So they're like, well, I don't eat that much. I don't eat that much. When you start tracking these macros and you start weighing and measuring your food, you start realizing, wow, like what these portions that I thought I was eating, I'm eating 2 and 3 portions if you really like look at the labels. So I try to teach a lot of awareness as far as like reading the labels, reading the ingredients within the label so that you're, actually getting in quality food, and kind of just being aware of portion and serving sizes. Because a lot of people look on the back of a, I'm going to use a Pringles. Because my son just had Pringles. So it says 16 Pringles is the serving size, right?
Who can ever stop at 16 Pringles?
So you grab a stack of Pringles, but there's probably like 30 Pringles in your hand, but the serving size is really only 15 or 16 Pringles. Now, if the serving size is 15 and you had 16, it's not a big deal. But if you doubled or tripled the serving, then...
Or ate the whole can.
So weighing or measuring the food, and realizing what macros you're eating helps people be aware of what they're really consuming. Because a lot of people think that they're not consuming as much as they are until they actually start looking at the food.
Yeah,
so let me ask you this for somebody. I'm sorry, Dr. Gill.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that they've shown that food diaries, keeping a food diary does reduce your consumption, and you tend to eat a lot less when you're actually measuring and checking it. I was going to say something else, but I'll let you go, Pam, because I keep asking questions. You go.
Well, no, I wanted to ask because I know, like, I love vegetables. Like, I know that there's people who really love fruit. There's people who really love vegetables, and typically you don't get somebody who loves both. It's whatever that, I don't know. I could eat vegetables all day long, but I also really enjoy meat. But when we look at like weighing your macros out or whatever, and if I'm thinking, well, I'm eating all these vegetables all day long, and I do know that you can get some protein from vegetables and you can get carbs from vegetables, and I really enjoy vegetables, how do I weigh out what my macros are in these different fresh vegetables,
Well, basically you have to use a tracking app. So there's a lot of tracking apps out there like MyFitnessPal and Carb Manager, My Macros. There's a lot of apps out there. So, it's a lot easier than like back 20 years ago because I used to compete, in bodybuilding back in the day. And, I would write down everything.
When you were like 10 years old, because you're only like 20.
No, thank you. I'm actually 48.
Yay for you. I just turned 51.
So. Happy birthday. So, back in the day, you'd write it down. Now you have an app where you can track it. And like the doctor said, it's easy for you to see how much you're consuming. So, normally I tell people, track your food for 3 days. Do not diet. Do not, just track what you normally eat. And people are shocked when they see how much food they're really consuming, when they thought they were eating 1,000 calories, they're actually eating 1,800 calories. So you use this tracking app, and the best thing to do is to scan all of your food from the labels.
That's where my question is because if I am a fresh vegetable like junkie, they don't have labels.
No, they don't. But that's very easy. So you have to get a scale, like a small digital scale. It's on your counter. You keep it there. You can always see it. And then you just weigh your veggies. So, things like veggies are already in the database for these tracking apps. And you basically just, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to use green peppers. So you get a fresh green pepper, you cut it up like you would normally cut it up. You take out, the stem and the seeds because you're not going to eat that, so you don't have to track it. And then you just put it on your scale. The tracking app will have, let's say, raw green peppers. You want to track it as you're eating it. So if you were eating it sauteed green peppers, that's a whole different story.
Because then now you got to think about, are you sauteing in butter or oil or whatever?
Absolutely, yes. So if you're just eating raw peppers as a snack, then you cut everything out, what you're going to eat, you put on the scale, and then that'll tell you, I don't know, let's say 20 grams, and you log it in as raw green peppers, and that'll tell you the carbs and, the protein. There's probably no fat in there. And then that's how you do everything, really, if it doesn't have a label.
So that seems like a lot of work, and I know that people already have very busy lives, and they don't want to take on extra work, which is, and I know at the same time you have to make a commitment to your health and your fitness and your nutrition. So what is, how can you make it easier for them, and what do you do about when you just need some comfort food, or how can you keep your willpower that high all the time? Because I know my willpower at the end of the day, it's very little resistance to chocolate.
I'm like, give me chips and cheese.
I'm so glad you asked. So the thing that I try to teach, first of all, I try to teach balance and not restriction. So I know it seems like a lot of work weighing and measuring, and these are the clients that when we do the whole macro and the weighing and measuring, these are the clients that are, 100% serious and disciplined, and they enjoy the structure. So you have that group of people, which I deal with. I'm one of those. I love structure. I love, being on track all the time. And that's just my personality. Then I have another group of people who, like you said, may feel overwhelmed. And so what I do for them is that I do hand macros, and I send them a guide. And what that is basically a fist is your serving of carbs, or a thumb is your serving of fat. And that way their hand is always with them. If you go to a restaurant, you can kind of loosely calculate, but staying on something that fits within, your lifestyle. You cannot eat like an athlete, and not do any activity. You know what I mean? So there's some, you have to make some sacrifices. It just depends where you fall in that umbrella. Are you getting on a stage? Then you have to be on the side of weighing and measuring everything that goes in your mouth. Or are you doing it for health reasons? You want to look good, you want to feel good, like you said, on the inside out, then you do more of the hand macros. But, you do have to take responsibility for what you put in your mouth. And
what
you
about
can do it. Go ahead.
Intermittent fasting, because I know that's very popular with a lot of people these days, but I get hungry, so I mean, what do you especially, and at night willpower is really low too, so how do you manage to get people to do intermittent fasting?
And I want to answer that question so that you can have both of these together, because I have a low blood sugar issue that I literally have to put something in my stomach every hour to keep my blood sugar. It's the opposite of diabetes. So fasting for me, along with what Dr. Gill is saying, is not a healthy thing for me. I crash fast, So if you could combine those two questions together and address it.
So first of all, intermittent fasting, like you said, is not for everyone. Some people love it. I personally love it because I came from eating 6 or 7 meals a day to where I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't eat in 2 hours, my muscle is going to be gone, So it's simple for me. It's I fast most of the day, and then I love volume. So if you like veggies, you love volume because you can have a lot of veggies. So, I like to eat my meals in a very condensed window, about 6 to 8 hours. But it's taken me years to get there. So when people approach me about intermittent, I don't suggest it. I usually wait for them to, approach me and ask me about it. And, basically I tell them start slow. We're programmed to eat from 7 o'clock in the morning, from the time, we wake up until 10 o'clock at night, never giving our digestive system a break. Like you said, never giving our blood sugar time to balance out during the day. So I usually tell people start slow. If you used to eating till 10 o'clock at night, move that back to like 8 o'clock at night and stop eating at 8, and then have your coffee at 7 or 8. And then your body, you almost train your body to add more hours onto your fasting. So our bodies are kind of, I saw another one of your broadcasts, but our bodies are kind of designed to feast and fast. It's been really the food industry that has told us, here are all these snack-size snacks, and let's eat these all day. So your body can't do it, and you can thrive on it. It's just a personal thing. So for someone like you that has low blood sugar, I probably wouldn't suggest that. And if I did suggest it, it would be just like the overnight fast where you're fasting anyway, and maybe,
Right.
Where you're sleeping. So,
and that's what I try to like not eat after about 9 o'clock. And then I like an 8-hour night at least. Like give me my 8 hours, sometimes 10. So that would be my fast. But I definitely keep snacks in my car, but they're typically very clean snacks. Like next week we have a person that's coming on for Thursdays. It's like a very pure cracker kind of thing. I try to keep nuts, those kind of things. And just when I feel that coming on, like just have a couple. But I also know there's a lot of benefit to giving your gut a break and like letting it clean itself out. I just don't think it's for everybody, because I don't think I could function.
It's not for everybody. And, again, it's everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses in dieting, and so, or choosing a healthier lifestyle. So if you could try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you have a particular issue like you do, nuts are great because they're not full of sugar, and it's not going to spike your insulin, and all that. So,
and they have the fat, they have the good fats and all those things.
Right. So it just
as long as they're not salted and
Right. Well, that's a whole other story. But yeah, as long as it's a healthier version of a snack, and it's clearly it's working for you. So that's another thing that I always tell my clients: if something is working, normally people don't come to me because what they're doing is working. People come for help and support because what they've been doing is not working, and so I help them implement new strategies that help them in their lifestyle and their goals.
So what
and it's having accountability. I'm so sorry, Dr. Gill. Go ahead. We should have like little hand raising things.
Go ahead, Pamela.
Oh, I think the accountability is a huge part, because a lot of us, we want, like we know we need this in our life. We know we need to be eating healthier. We know we need to be exercising. We know we need to be, taking care of our wellness and our mindset. But it's structuring our time and being held accountable for that I think having somebody that you can kind of connect with and do it in a way that you feel comfortable and hold you to some sort of accountability to that is important.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what I do for my clients, aside from, I send them healthy recipes, or I'll help them clean out their pantries. Sometimes I'll even go shopping with them, because you'd be surprised how many people don't even know how to read a food label other than just looking at the calories. So other than doing all that, I try to offer support. I have weekly check-ins with them. If they feel comfortable, I have them send me, pictures so that we can compare their before and after pictures. Because a lot of times, you have people weighing themselves and they're like, oh my gosh, well, the scale hasn't gone down, but the scale doesn't tell the whole story. So I try to keep people motivated, try to have contact with them, sometimes daily. I also run challenges, smaller groups. I like to do smaller groups, but where we can all hold each other accountable, and maybe have like healthy habit challenge or something like that to just keep people engaged and feeling good about the decisions every day.
Part of a community. I want you to know I have an electronic scale, and I had to name it. It makes you like call it a name. I called it Liar.
Scales are important, but they're not the.
I'm like, you're a liar. That's not me.
I wanted to ask you about flexible dieting. That was one of the other points you wanted to bring out. So can you tell us a little more about that?
So just like we're talking about, like you said, people don't want to feel restricted or that strict or anything like that. So basically what flexible dieting is, I'll give you your macros, or I'll help you figure them out yourself. I mean, all the formulas, there's calculators, you don't need a coach, you don't need me, you can do it on your own. But once you have these, loose numbers that you want to follow, it gives you an opportunity to eat the foods you love. So there's no good food or bad food unless, you have an allergy or an intolerance. And so let's say you've gone all week and you've eaten your healthy proteins and you've eaten your healthy fats and you've, stayed within your ranges, and Saturday comes along and you're like, well, I don't know, I want to go to Chipotle or something like that. You can fit that in to your daily allotments. You can fit that into your macros and not get derailed, not feel guilty about it, and then just jump right back onto your regular eating the very next meal. So
Chipotle just made my stomach growl.
Yeah, well, Chipotle is very delicious. But it just gives people an opportunity to still eat the foods that they love. However, I've seen a lot of people, and I don't agree with it, try to use it, because you could stay within your macros and within your calories and eat Pop-Tarts all day long. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's not an excuse to eat crap. It's just an excuse or a different avenue to be able to eat the foods you love and still feel like you're working towards your results, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's been your biggest challenge in coaching people nutritionally?
Consistency to the program. So, you'll have people that they start, I always say, people ask me, what is your biggest motivation or what motivates you? And I say nothing, because discipline is what really keeps me glowing, because motivation really doesn't last. And so I feel like people get really gung-ho at the beginning of a plan or at the beginning of a challenge, and they're super motivated, but they lack the discipline to see it through the end. And so I try to teach people that, like Pamela said, mindset is everything. So you have to start with some type of, feeling of discipline and enjoying that feeling of maybe hitting your macros that day, or getting in 30 minutes 3 days a week, really like setting these small goals and hitting them. And that's going to really work on your discipline. I always say, like, willpower is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So you have to kind of combine, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of discipline, and, your goals all together to kind of get you to that end result. And it's really a lifestyle, not a diet, because we can't be in diet mode all of our life, so which.
And we feel like we're depriving ourselves, right? So if you are on a diet, you're depriving yourselves. Whereas if we think about, we are so blessed to have the health and the I call it wealth, but not in a money way, in the fact that we get to enjoy life. And we really should embrace that and support that, and know that our bodies are so capable on their own if we give them like the right environment and give it what it needs. And every single person's body is different. And so understanding what, like I said, ticks our talk or teeters our teeter totter, whatever, you know, is we're all different. So one thing is not the same for anybody else. I do know I had 2 children. They're now adults. So they don't live with me, but I know when they did live with me, and you have a few children, it was a big struggle for me to eat healthy and teach them healthy eating habits and not just want a chicken nugget, you know, or mac and cheese or something. So for the parents out there that, you know, really want to, one, make sure that they're doing their and that's where you're at. You have 3 small children at home, but you're still trying to have your macros and probably make sure that you're setting your children up for the healthiest lifestyle they can have, but children still want their Mickey D's and their, you know, French fries.
I mean, my kids still want, you know, I try, I'm very repetitive at home, you know, very repetitive on what you should be eating. But I still let them have their kids. You know, I had ice cream and stuff when I was a kid. I still let them have the stuff they like. But for the most part, when I make their meals, I try to make them balanced. Obviously, my children don't diet. You know, they're not that little. They're 13, 12, and 6. But, you know, my girls, I have 2 girls, 12 and 13. And so, you know,
you're right there in that hormone.
It is a scary world over here. But, you know, I try to teach them, and they know, they just, you know, some of them, they like chips, or they like, you know, I try not to buy it. And they do get angry with me, and they want to go shopping with their dad. But, you know, it's a healthy balance. Like, my husband is, you know, he kind of likes the treats and the snacks, and I'm over here, so we kind of like meet in the middle.
Do you have cheat days? Do you say, like, we have a cheat day, we're just going to really like have what we want today, and then the rest of the week we're not?
I don't. I personally don't, but I did before I discovered, you know, flexible dieting and counting my macros. And, you know, I would live for the cheat day. I would live for it. I was like, okay, Saturday, I'm going to eat whatever I want all day. And then wonder to myself, why am I not seeing results? It's because I work all week to then, you know, burn the house down, so to speak. You know what I mean? So, but that is not how I work with my clients.
We are like out of time. Yeah, there is one last question, right?
Yeah, you wanted to tell everyone how to avoid the quarantine 15.
Yeah, that's been one of my favorites. So I'll do it quickly. So the first one is try to stick to a routine. I know we're getting back out now, you know, in phase 1 or whatever we're calling it, but sticking to your routine that you did before the quarantine, like getting up at the same time, eating at the same time, working out at the same time is definitely great to do right now. My second one is what we were just talking about, increase the inconvenience of snacking. So instead of having the snacks on the counter or in a cabinet, you know, either don't buy them, or, you know, put them inconveniently, like on a top cabinet, or, you know, in the garage in a pantry or something like that, so they're inconvenient for you to grab. The third one is the most popular one. Are you bored or are you hungry? So when you get to the refrigerator and you're standing there wondering what you want to eat, you're bored. Because when you're hungry, you know what you want to eat. You know what I mean? And then the last one is just movement. Just, you know, you don't have to crush every goal in the gym or in the backyard or run sprints, and just move. You know, get outside, play with your kids, go for a walk after dinner. That's been really helpful for my clients. And what I've done is just made them, you know, I send them like a weekly target sheet and just made them choose all of these or one of these that they want to conquer each week. And they feel really good about themselves when they do it all week. And so what most people want right now is support and somebody that kind of gets them and has been there.
Well, thank you so much for supporting all our listeners and viewers. It's been great to see how you structure things and what you recommend. So thank you so much.
Okay, so what we got to do is I really love to meet you, and I want to talk more to you. You're close by us, and we want to integrate into what we have going on here. I did want to add tomorrow is our Fitness Fridays, and back by popular demand, we are talking about women's health with vaginal rejuvenation at home. which has been like a whatever topic, but it is a very important topic, and it is a very medical topic. So, but we have a lot of fun with it. So that's what we're doing tomorrow for Fitness Fridays, same time. And Patricia, thank you so much. We do ask that you share. We'll get you all this information, that you kind of share it out there. We'll be sharing it out there. And I'd like to connect with you here in my practice, and maybe Dr. Gill as well, to see how we can align, you know, some efforts. So.
I would love that. Thank you so much, ladies. Be safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gill. Bye.
Bye-bye.